Big Island market update data is out. We'll take a look at what's happening on the Big Island real estate market coming up next. Hey, what's happening, friends? Dylan Malaka here with your Big Island market update. We're going to take a look at what's going on the Big Island market update for November and compare it to last November as we normally do. I got some fancy new stuff to adjust slides, so I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a second. I can bring my slide up right here and show you what's going on the Big Island market. So overall top line numbers that we've been looking at month after month after month, right, is the active listings. This is the big driver of what's going on in the market. Is we are still under 2,000 listings, and like I've said in the past, that number used to be between 3,500 and 4,000 listings before COVID. And so even though market activity has slowed, and I'm going to show you what that looks like towards the end of this video, that active listing count just has not ticked up. It's been hovering 1,900, little below, little above is kind of where we've been all year. We are at a low number of under contracts. We've been kind of at 700 or 800 the last few months. So that number is kind of low, and that's driving the low number of overall sales. And we'll take a look at that here in a second. So if we're comparing monthly comparison this month to last month, and then the same month a year ago, looking across the board, the number of sales is down, right? And we're going to see what this overall looks like. This is just the residential market. So 135 residential sales this month versus a year ago is 172. But if you look at the median price is up, right? It's down from last month, month to month, it fluctuates. But if you look at the median price, $499 versus $492 last year, the median price is actually up. And I can make this a little bit bigger so you guys can take a look and see what the numbers are here. But this is the residential market. If we look at the condo market, same thing is going on here. Number of sales is down, just 29 sales this month versus 47 the previous month and 31 sales a year ago. So we are lower in terms of the number of sales on the condo market also. And then on the land market, 129 sales, so a little bit up on the land market, but we're down from last month and there was 122, so about the same a year ago. But if you look at the land, median price 43,000 versus 39,000. I didn't cover that on the condo market. So the condo market, same thing, 539 this year, it was 440 last year. So median price continues to rise. But the big thing that we keep going back to is looking at the amount of sales is extremely low. That was the big headline for November of this year. And this is the dollar volume across the board. And I'll blow this up a little bit for you. So this is the track of the number of sales that happen month after month. And as we were kind of looking at, and I talked about last month, the number of sales kind of peaked back in May up at 456, which is a normal kind of market. Between like 350 and 500 is normally the month after month averages. It's been a slow year. We had the bottom of the market was back in January. We had 288 sales, so very, very low. And then we were kind of climbing back up, and then it dropped off at the end of the year. And the big story here is that in November of this year, we went all the way down to 300. So if you look at just 2 months ago and 3 months ago, in August, it was 429. In September, it was 394. In October, it was 337. And then we dropped all the way down to 300 overall sales. So the market is very slow in terms of the number of sales. But as we just previously mentioned, that hasn't affected the median price. The median price continues to be stable or a little bit higher than it was a year ago, mainly due to the very low inventory. Even though interest rates and other things are suppressing buyer demand, there is no sign that prices are going down anytime soon, even though the number of homes that are selling is pretty low. So that's the kind of overall headline. The takeaway with all of this is, and I said this last month, it's a weird market. It's still a good time to sell because of the low inventory and there's not as much competition, but it's also a good time to buy because the buyer demand is not there. So you don't have to go into these multiple offer situations and fight over properties unless it's really well priced, because that is definitely still the case. If you price your property really well on the seller side, you will get a lot of interest and potentially have multiple offers. And we are still seeing properties go under contract pretty quickly when the property is priced right. And the other prediction here going forward is there is some talk about interest rates coming down. And if you're on the buy side, that's something you really got to take into account, because if the interest rates do drop a point or two and this crazy flood of demand comes back in, because that's really what's happening right now, is there's a lot of pent up demand from buyers who have been waiting to buy but are sitting on the sidelines. If that happens, the days of the multiple offer, pin $20,000 over list price and giving away all the terms to make your offer more acceptable will be back. And so if you are a buyer thinking about buying, you really want to think about just biting the bullet. If you can afford the monthly payment, buy while the interest rates are high, because if the interest rates drop, it's going to cause a huge increase in demand and could make buying a lot more difficult, like it was a couple of years ago. So lots to consider here, but that's what's going on in the market. We will see what happens. We're into the more busy season now, where visitors are coming back and snowbirds come back, and so a lot of times the December and January months are busier for showings, and then that reflects in sales in February and March. And so that's another thing to take into account here, is the seasonality. I'm not really concerned about a low October or a low November, because October is Ironman and a lot of people avoid coming to Kona, and the people who come here for Ironman are not buyers of property. So a lot of times we do see a seasonal fall in the number of sales in November, because by the mid-September and October, town is full of people here who are here for the Ironman. They're not here to buy property, and so that affects sales 30 to 60 days later. So that's a common thing that happens here in Kona. But if you have any questions, you can always reach out, Dylan@buybigisland.com, or put a comment below. I'd be happy to reach out. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next month for the Big Island Market Report. Aloha.